I think a big part of the switch up also comes from the fact that people are just frustrated with our politics, man. Long-term consequences of the past 20 months, Israel's overplayed their hand, committing atrocities, dragging us into wars, and policing free speech in America, all funded by taxpayers. This all predates 20 months. But by the way, current poll leadership may not have the courage, but we will. Negative views of Israel has risen in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, this is only, and America is still one of the most pro-Israel countries on the planet. I think this switch up isn't simply because Israel's done like tremendous bloodshed or whatever. I think a big part of the switch up also comes from the fact that people are just frustrated with our politics, man. I think the average person really recognizes that no politician gives a fuck. I think the post-Trump destruction of normal American politics is going to be severe, far more severe than we think. Because there are, I suspect, a lot of people who voted for Trump because he was supposed to be a different type of leader and represent even a mallet that will ruin the systems that have never served the American population. And this dynamic between politicians openly genuflecting and behaving like servile little demons to Israel, to Israel's interests, and placing Israel's interests over the interests of American citizens, that is inevitably going to cause anger and resentment even amongst some of the most loyal right-wing bases. Because, like, I didn't really think that the Trump administration, like, posturing as anti-war was going to create severe fissures, severe repercussions, and divide the base at all. Because I think most people just, like, think that they're anti-war, but they're not actually anti-war when push comes to shove. But at this point, it does feel as though there are at least some people who would probably be more on board with war if they were getting something in return. But if all you're seeing is a diminished status in the global stage, and if all you're seeing is yet another failed Iraq war 2.0, and if all you're seeing is, like, on the domestic front, no immediate improvement to your material conditions. You know, rent still as expensive as it ever was. Groceries are not more affordable. Your living standards are getting worse year over year. And there's a fuck ton of homeless people around, even if you don't recognize that that is born out of the unaffordability crisis in terms of housing. But, like, when you fucking recognize the environment that you live in, you're like, why the fuck would I fight for this? Why would I feel patriotic about this? Now, will there be patriots out there who will delude themselves into thinking America number one, baby, who gives a fuck? Sure. But I do think that every person that sees an American politician that is supposed to represent them, representing Israel harder than they ever have represented their constituents, is going to inevitably breed tremendous resentment towards the political structure in its entirety. It feels like that is the main cause of this attitude shift. You can't have a servile public that is ready to go to war at a moment's notice if they don't believe that you are worth fighting for. You know, this is not supposed to be a fucking monarchy. You're not like a serf that is called to arms when the king decides, that when the king demands you have to go and fight. You know? That's not what this is supposed to look like. That's not what this is supposed to be, an evolution from that process, right? Things are more awful in the ashes of the 2001 to 2003 dynamic, and therefore people are way, way, way less invested in going to war, and this time directly for Israel, after a year and a half of unlimited baby murder paid for with our tax dollars, as the Israeli government demands a pound of flesh in return, as the Israeli government says, you can't even fucking criticize this process, and our politicians play the role of loyal servants and continue trying to stop people from even having bad thoughts about Israel.